And then you just go,
Hello, we're back. Sorry about that. We had a internet meltdown. I think, personally, what I think it was the mention of Scientology.
Yep.
Oh, could be.
Tom Cruise and John Travolta. We said those two key words, red flag words, twice. The next thing, everything just shuts down. That's a bit weird, isn't it? Or else, Paul, you're gonna have to leave the show because you're a liability now.
I thought the Edinburgh Sparrow sort of just jumped in their Bentleys and come and cut my foot.
The pull the plug.
I tell you, you're right when you said they had pull with Google. Jesus, any?
No, Mel Gibson conspiracy theory.
It's actually, Joe, I was going to have a word with you about that because you shouldn't have any pull with Google anymore, but their headquarters being in Dublin now. Come on.
You would think so, wouldn't you?
That
you're expecting. That's the European headquarters in Dublin now. So we're expecting Joan Harper to go down and sort that out, you know.
I know exactly where it is. I actually know the Eurospar that all the staff go to.
Oh, there you go.
Just just
Liberty Hall.
We bit of information there for anybody that's interested. Just saying. Hit me an email.
It's easy to see because the colours are blue and yellow.
Yes. Like it's Tipperary, I mean. The GAA gag. Anyway.
Sorry.
So we'll need to wrap this up, I imagine. But listen, I don't know. See, obviously, Paul, we want to ask you tons of questions about the book, right? Mm-hmm. But obviously, we know we can't because the book in itself is going to be, quite exceptional by the sounds of it. Is there anything?
We can in McGrath here.
Absolutely, we can. Yeah, we know everything. You know what I mean? That's But I mean, is there anything you want to say to anybody, in terms of what it means to them? I think this might even go beyond being a Celtic supporter in terms. I know it's definitely part and parcel, but I mean, in terms of Scottish culture and socially for Scotland, do you think it's something that make obviously it's going to create ripples, right? We know that already. But do you think it's something that might, further down the line be something that causes a shift?
Yeah, well, I mean, somebody actually tweeted me today, what would be the implications of the Edinburgh establishment and if an independent Scotland was to come along, for example. Now, what I would say is the Edinburgh establishment has been weakened to the point of breaking now on the basis that their two main piggy banks are now being killed. I'll leave you to read the book on that one. But the wider implications in terms of Scottish society is, especially for guys like us, working class guys and all that, is this is horrific entitlement abused to beyond belief. I just hope that what comes with the book is that people will understand that, there's a hell of a lot of things that are stacked against people like us, particularly Celtic supporters, yet we are still able to, take it on, stand up to it, and defeat it. And that's the most important aspect of the story, is that when you're reading all the stuff that was going on and all the advantages they had and all that, never ever forget that we still managed to defeat it. We're just talking off there. Bear in mind that despite all these other advantages they had as well, they were also handed them money on a plate to people like Dave King and Joe Lewis to the tune of 60 million quid, and we still beat it, they still went bust. So kind of, for once, the good guys win, Mm-hmm. And I suppose that, the kind of moral of the story is that, never give in, because I'm sure we've all had times in that period in the last 25 years where we felt like chucking it, none more so than, just trying to Fergus coming in and that. But because we never chucked it and because of who we are and what kind of worldwide, and I'll tell you the figures, apart from showing the help that Rangers were getting, they show you just how big a club Celtic are, and it's absolutely phenomenal, and we've touched on that earlier with Jerry and stuff. The worldwide appeal of Celtic is absolutely phenomenal. And the people, you have to understand that when David Murray scampered about for 4 years to find a guy to buy Rangers, and he bought it for £1, right? And that's eventually what happened. When Celtic were supposedly in trouble, there were 3 different groups of people who wanted to buy Celtic. And to this day, these people still attend Celtic Park. And that's a wonderful thing, because it shows you just how much Celtic means to these people. They weren't in for it for a quick buck. They weren't really just turn it over and make a couple of million and get out and have a wee box of shares to, and then one, didn't pay for the shares and then sell them at this and then go and all that kind of thing. He done it for the love of the club. John Keane done it for the love of the club when he gave £1 million at the time when they needed it. And there he was, 20 odd years later, raising the flag. Celtic inspire that in people. And that's a big reason why Celtic will never, ever end up like Rangers did.
I mean, the repercussions of this, even not even the book, Paul. That was beyond that. This sort of altering in thinking. The people look back and go, yeah, that was a tainted time, and we should pay no heed to that. It's, I don't know, it's socially and I suppose personally for you as well. I mean, it's new ground.
Yeah, I mean, it's a long time ago. I mean, obviously, it's relevant, recent, and stuff like that. But and everybody will know, Jason will tell you as well. To be a sales supporter then was as hard as it's ever been. We were mocked and derided by the media, by pundits, by their supporters. I see them Saturday, I was sitting at hand in October 1994. They're screaming, hate us, and they're thrashing us on the park, Brian Lambert for riot. And I'm sitting at hand and thinking, is this it? Is this how it's always going to be? And it was hard and it was horrible because you wanted to fight back. I went to Ibrox when the fans were banned, and the main reason, my motivation for going that day was to stick it back to them, to try and stand up to them in some wee tiny shape or form. And as I say, living so closely with this thing going on for 20 years, it was helping to try and destroy my football club and my people, and knowing what was going on and then thinking, what could I have done anyway? Maybe smashed a few windows, slipped through tile, or whatever. Nothing major, nothing at all. I hope that I can somehow try and start a chain reaction in people coming forward and saying, you know what, that's exactly what was going on. And we need to look at this because this is tainted, put a black cloud over Scottish football far more than EBTs did. Because I'll guarantee you, as I said before, that Rangers Old Club would have been absolutely delighted that EBTs were the only things that were ever spoken about.
Revelations.
I have to say, I am definitely in a bit of a, I need to sit back and take this in first, you know what I mean? But then again, I haven't even read the book yet. You know what I mean?
Well, I was the same, Joe. It took me a while to get my head around the whole thing because, the enormity of it was just like, Jesus Christ, and that's what I've tried to build in the book as a kind of structured story that gets you in the mood for what you're about to, effectively the meat and the sandwich. And I'm not expecting people just to go, all right, I get it, because the information is so big and it's so vast and spreads over so many years and there's so many charts to illustrate and stuff and mind maps and graphs and stuff like that. But hopefully, the people can come to the book launch and they get the books, they go forth and spread the word, and we start something that, makes Celtic supporters feel vindicated to know that we were right and that everything that we've done in our history was done with honour and skill and flair and passion and want to win, and that everything was done in their history, especially in their money, David Murray history, was done with money that they were never going to pay back and was built on a house of cards.
Let me ask you a question, Paul, right? Apart from being totally, I suppose, infuriated and completely flabbergasted at the information that you've received, were you in some way in the back of your mind, did it cross your mind thinking, did it make you even more in awe of Celtic and Celtic supporters, thinking, God, we actually managed to ride that complete false roller coaster with them and still come out on top?
I mean, I'll tell you, I'll say honestly, there's a couple of times in writing the book and digesting information to put in a kind of story form that I had tears in my eyes because it was like, you felt, once you get past the eye, it's a bit like grief, anger, all the stages of grief and stuff like that. Then there was just the sadness in knowing, all that shit that we went through, that good people that were taken down by these people, should never have happened. And it does actually, as you say, Joe, kind of amplify just what kind of people that follow Celtic. When you talk about the Petrov game and kind of because all the celebrities are there and stuff, and you're like, oh my God, there's 60,000 charity game. That's a unique thing at Celtic. We had that for the UNICEF game, we had it for the Phil O'Donnell game, the Tommy Munks. We do that. That's what Celtic do. That's what the fans are all about. You should put Celtic fans in front of a cause and they will embrace it. We talked about the atmosphere of the Champions League earlier. I think Celtic fans are at their absolute best when there's a chance that our team can get beat. You know, I think that's what creates the atmosphere in the Champions League when they come and they think, oh, it's Barcelona, it's Man U, it's whoever. Good chance we can beat here, the team leaders. Similarly, Jason talked about the great era in the 80s and stuff that you remember fondly. One of the important things I remember about Celtic supporters in the 80s was if we went to wherever it was, whether it was Young or whatever, and lost a game on a Wednesday, you'd get 10,000 on the crowd more on a Saturday because people had to be there to show the team they were still behind them if they had lost a game. That's what Celtic was all about. Even if you look at the era when Murray was running roughshod over Scottish football, our crowds in 1982 were still at the 35,000 mark. This is a team that they won anything for 3 years against a team that were winning everything for 3 years. And our crowds were only about 6,000 or 7,000 below them. And as we all know, you know, the figures then was a bit shaky and stuff like that with the crowds and all that kind of thing. So, Celtic, you know, I mean, it's just, you know, you could talk about all day the inspiration and what it gives to people. But what Celtic, I think, gives to people more than any other football club is their life. You know, when Robert Kelly said that we're more than a football club, he went on to say that it's for people, it's a way of life. And when that way of life comes, it's the thing that I think that when you stand in a bar and you see somebody with the same scarf as you, and they might, you know, be doing something you didn't agree with, so that scarf gives them that wee bit leeway, you know, because they're the same as you. You know, I remember a guy getting in a fight once, and the guy was wearing a Celtic top, and he said to him, you know, I'm just going to tell you, walk away now. And the guy walked away now, and he said, and by the way, it was that top that saved your life. And he wouldn't get in a fight because it was Celtic. And that was always Celtic, you know what I mean? The passion of the fans was always the thing, you know, and you see the book starts in the centenary year. I mean, you look at some of the passion that was involved in that year. You know, you think back to Paul McStay's equaliser against Hearts at Celtic Park for a 2-2 draw. I mean, that is just sheer unbridled joy on his face, on the face of the supporters. Look at Paul McStay's celebration at Ibrox in 1988, when he scored one of the best goals you'll ever see in a football match. The immediate reaction is to run to the Celtic support with joy. Now, you compare that to Rangers' so-called glory years when they were going on against us. People like McCoy's and that, they ran at us with sheer hatred in their faces. You know, there was no joy. It was about putting us in our place. It was about keeping us. You know, Murray, on numerous occasions, Chick Young once asked him, what do you think about the plans to develop a new Celtic Park? And he looked at the window and said, sorry, I'd just seen a pig flying past it. When I was asked about the threat of Fergus McCann, he replied, as long as they're playing Glenn Daly over the Tannoy, I know we'll always keep on top of them. Well, I've got news for you, Dave. We're still playing Glenn Daly over the Tannoy. Where are you now? You know? So that's what the best thing is about Celtic, is that we are who we are, and we're proud to be that. Rangers chased who we are and could never get near it, and that's how they ended up dead.
And on that note,
we call us the night, fellas. Anyway, I think let's all leave everybody with bated breath. I think waiting for this book to come out, and wonder if anything's going to happen. And I don't know, Paul. It's great to hear this is happening.
Aye, well, very interesting. I'm going to say glad to hear all that stuff. I'm not glad to hear it at all, but I'm intrigued to hear it.
Aye, you know? Well, as I say, if we can start the fight back, that'll do me.
Aye, good on you, mate.
Right, well, listen, we're going to wrap this up in our part 2. If you're on iTunes tomorrow, or you want to download this, there's a part 1, which isn't called part 1, but I'll edit it later and call it part 1. If that makes any sense. There's a part 1 and part 2, both called Tears in Paradise, I suppose, in tribute to Petrov, study on Petrov. That's the end of us, folks. Hopefully next week we'll have Harper back, but we'll see. Maybe dead by then. Who knows? So I want to thank Joe Mackin for coming on tonight, a stand-in guest. You lads want to say goodbye to the good folks at home?
Goodbye, good folks at home.
Paul?
Be careful with you.
Check under your wheel arches. Anyway, that's us done. We're going to play it with a wee tune. Oh, hang on a second. I just realised I haven't brought this tune up yet. Hold on a second. I got to search now.
Right, I need to vote anyway. I've got the daughter's homework to do. Right.
Right.
See you later, guys.
Talk to
you later.
Bye. Hey, we're done. Folks, that's the end of the show. Apologies for the technical difficulty in the middle. Blame Aircom, not me. We'll float with a wee song here that for anybody who was at the Paradise yesterday for the first time, I don't know. This is a song that suits you. Hail, hail.
Welcome to paradise. A gunshot rings out at the station. Another urchin snaps and left dead on his own. It makes me wonder why I'm still here. But some strange dreams and it's now feeling like my home, and I'm never gonna go. Welcome to paradise. Welcome to paradise.